it's Biddy Penny. Welcome to my channel, and today it's time for paper stash smash. So we're smashing our paper pads this year as a collective team, and it's a group hosted by Debbie over at Project 39 Mini Albums. And this month in February, we're going to be smashing 6x6 paper pads. I have 2 projects to share with you. And I thought for these videos on the first of every month, I would come to you with projects for the size paper pads that we're smashing. So I have some beautiful paper pads here in front of me. These were actually, both of these were a gift from a friend of mine, and they are authentique, and they're very like Valentine's colored, but not Valentine's themed. But I love them. I absolutely love them. So I'm going to use some of those for some mini journals. And then I'm also going to make some mini slimline cards. And I'm going to use this paper pad from Prima. And it does have some stickers in the back, but it's mostly backgrounds, which I just love. They're neutral and amazing. And I'm going to show you a process for both of these projects and give you lots of tips and tricks. Down in my description box, you will find a whole list of people who are smashing their stash this year, and I hope you will hop along and see each person's inspiration for you. So this is a mini flip-flop journal. So it kind of has 2 covers and 2 signatures, and they are so easy to make. You don't need any special tools. All you need is a stapler, a regular stapler. But before we get to the journal, let's do project 1, which is using our 6x6 paper for mini slimline cards. I'm going to pull out 4 sheets here, and I'm going to make 2 cards with you, and then I'm going to make 2 off screen and share all of them with you at the end of this video. Now, I used to make slimline cards, and I thought they had to be like a really specific size. Turns out they don't. And the easiest way to make them is to take a 6x6 sheet of paper and score it at 3 inches. And 3x6 card is perfect for mini slimlines. And they're just precious. And you can get envelopes for these anywhere. So I'm taking this cardstock, and this is a thicker cardstock. It is double-sided, and I'm just scoring it at 3 inches. So now I'm making card bases with my 6x6 paper, and I could take this whole paper pad and make 36 cards out of it, which I think is pretty amazing. And with this neutral kind of palette, it would be great for lots of different types of cards, lots of different colors and themes. I'm just making 4 here today, but you could totally smash a whole paper pad like this and just put these to the side and have them to use for later. So this is an older paper pad, not one you're probably going to find, and I'm sure that you might feel like that's kind of a broken record for me or for some using their stash, but that's just the way it is. However, you can do this with any 6x6 paper. So let's make a couple of cards together. I did decide to go ahead and bring in my Gilded Rose. I've been working through this paper pad, and I've actually been keeping track on the back cover of how many cards I can make with one paper pad. And I think I've forgotten to write a couple on there, but I have all these scraps, and I just thought this would be perfect. So I grabbed some scraps, and when I'm mass making like this, I like to lay like all 4 of my card fronts out at the same time and kind of collage on them all at once. That's definitely my card making style, is a collage style card. I love layering really different pieces of paper and doing actual collage on cards. I love making cards from my scraps. It's one of my favorite kind of cards to make. And so that's kind of what this session is me playing with my scraps. I don't have any dimensions for you because, again, I'm just playing with scraps. And I'm just arranging them in a way that is appealing and, and to the eye. But I don't have any dimensions for you or cutting guides here because it's just not necessary. Just grab your scraps and have fun. Have fun. Now, I decided to make all 4 of my cards thank you cards today because I need a lot of thank you cards because I like to pack a card in each order on my off my website. So here, this label is too close to the same color as my background, so I just swapped that out with a different one, grabbed another scrap, and I'm actually going to bring in even some book pages. So with the way that I craft, I often pull paper from many different sources. Book pages, 8.5 by 11 tea-dyed paper, 12 by 12 paper, 6 by 6. I personally design and manufacture 6 by 8 paper. So it's kind of all on the table when I'm working and creating. And so the great thing about that is as I'm working through my 6 by 6 paper pads, I'm going to simultaneously be working through the other stacks of paper in my room as well. So I brought in this book page and am using that as my main background. I could have cut that smaller, but I just like it just like this. And the great thing is I don't have to worry about what I might be covering up on the front because these little cards have design all the way around because it's a double-sided piece of paper. So my card base in itself has plenty of the paper still showing. And I just think it's really fun to have cards that are made out of patterned paper versus the white cardstock. I mean, most of my cards have the white cardstock base, but it is fun to make something like this. So off camera, I will make the other 2. Let's move on to project number 2, which is the mini flip-flop journal. And I'm going to use the authentique paper for my cover. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about paper real quick before we jump into this. This authentique paper is a little thicker, but you want different weights of paper in your journals. This is another place where you can bring in book pages, notepads, grab your scraps, and add a variety. I find for these little journals that these kinds of covers are fine. You could always double up the paper if you wanted to, if you wanted your cover to be a little thicker, a little sturdier. I have this Spellbinders paper pad in my stash, and they don't make those anymore, but they're a thinner paper, and so is this Park Lane heirloom paper. It's 180 sheets. I always buy these when they're on sale because they make great journal pages. And it's wonderful. You don't need printables, and you get 180 sheets. It's a really good deal. And it's a lightweight paper. It's perfect for journals. So I'm also going to use a sheet of that here today, and I'm just going to quarter it into 6 by 6 sizes. So the first thing I'm doing is grabbing some of this thinner paper from the Spellbinders paper pad, and I'm going to grab like 5 pages for each signature. So these little journals do have 2 signatures because they're flip-flop journals. So you've got to have at least 2 signatures. I've never made a 3-signature flip-flop journal, but now that we're talking about it, I think I might have to give it a try. I think that would be even more fun. So I'm just going through here, and I'm going to pick 2 papers from this authentique because it's thicker, and I'm going to make this my cover. The fun thing about a flip-flop journal is you get 2 covers, and you'll see in my journal here today that my covers are like totally different. The vibe of this little journal is so fun. So I did have some of this paper off to the side, and this is like some elementary writing paper. It used to be purple. It used to be popular in junk journaling. I don't know if it still is. I honestly don't really keep up with the trends of any of my paper crafts anymore, but yeah, I have it, so I'm going to use it. And I grabbed 4 sheets of it. Now here's my stapler. It's just a standard stapler. That's all you need for binding your book together. If you don't want to use a stapler, you can 3-hole pamphlet stitch. You can tie elastic and do a flowish journal. And whatever else you can think of. Brads, whatever. But we're using staples today. Now I'm just tearing this elementary paper down so that it is 6 by 6 as well. I chose to use my ruler and just tear, but you could certainly trim this in your paper trimmer. Just craft in a way that makes you happy. And now I'm cutting this 12 by 12 piece down to 6 by 6. And I'll have a couple of these in each signature. So that's a fun thing about the 12 by 12 paper and using them for these mini journals is one sheet of 12 by 12 actually gives you 4 sheets in your journal. So that's kind of fun. As I said before, this is a collaborative hop. Every month we come together and we're going to be showing you how we're smashing our stash. I've been watching the other creators who are listed down below throughout the month of January, and they are doing some spectacular projects. There's process videos and there's all sorts of ideas. There's a really diverse group this time, and I like that, of people who are participating, and we hope that you'll participate as well. You can follow along, and if you're a content creator, you can share using the hashtag. We'd love to see what you're making and how you're smashing your stash. So I've separated my papers out between the 2 signatures. So I have 5 of the pattern papers from Spellbinders, 4 of the notebook pages, and then 2 from the 12 by 12s. I'm going to go through and I'm just going to score everything at 3 inches. So just like our cards, this little journal is going to be 3 by 6. This is really easy step, so there's nothing tricky here. The only thing you want to pay attention to is the direction of your paper. Since it's 6 by 6, you can always change it and rotate it if you need to. A lot of my papers today didn't have a specific direction. They were non-directional, meaning they would work any way I folded it. So then I'm going to lay these out, and this is everything for one signature. I'm going to separate the 2 pages that are the same and put some distance between them. And then I'm going to go through and kind of just space things out with the notebook paper too. This side I decided is going to be the inside, so I turned that piece inside out. And now I'm just going to stack my pages inside of each other. You can have your pages at different heights. You can have them folded. You can have flips. You can stencil or paint your pages. Anything goes. You can make this in any theme that you want. And you can honestly make this in any size that you want. I'm just showing you the 6 by 6 version. And now I am just tearing off that branding strip and folding my cover, and now putting my signature inside of my cover. Now you can see here, there's usually, anytime you're making a journal like this, the paper is going to extend past the edge because it all doesn't reach the same center point, and so there's always excess, but that's an easy fix. I grab my Dollar Tree healing mat, my metal ruler, and X-Acto knife. And I just take it nice and slow. I don't put a lot of pressure on the knife. Just a good amount of pressure, but not real heavy-handed. And if that means I have to make multiple passes, then that's fine. I feel like I get a better cut and a cleaner edge taking this approach. So once I have all of that trimmed down, I'll have a nice clean edge. And then I'm going to bring in my stapler, and I'm going to put 3 staples in this journal to hold it together. And that's it. That's how we make a signature. You could stop here if you didn't want to make a flip-flop journal, and you would just have a cute little journal to throw in your purse or give as a gift. But the idea here is to have a flip-flop. So the flip-flop is super easy to make. I have 2 signatures, and I'm just going to show you here. I stapled these before. So if you're thinking, oh man, staples, I don't really like the staples, but there's options. Like I ran washi tape in this one along the center, so you wouldn't even know it was staples. And then by the time you get it really decorated, it's not just like real apparent. Now this one's kind of botchy because I had this shorter page right there, but it's all adorable. It's a junk journal. One of the most freeing things that you can paper craft is a junk journal, because given the name, you don't have to stress about it. At least that's how I feel. Okay, so you always want to be mindful of the direction of your paper. You want to make sure everything's lining up. And then you're going to basically put the journals back to back so that they look like this. So each time you turn it over, you're opening the other side of the journal. So you're gluing the back of one journal to the back of the other. The folds of the journals are opposite. Okay? So that is the main idea. Now with closures, you can do something like this. You can put it between your signatures before you glue them down together, and then you could wrap things around. The way that I've done it on my other journal there that I've been showing you as my example is I put an eyelet in one of the covers and wrapped the ribbon around. And we're going to do something a little different today. So there's so many options. You don't have to have a closure if you don't want one. But with flip-flop journals, I find that closures are really good. I feel the same way about accordion journals as well. I feel like both of those types of journals just do better when they have a closure. Now this is critical. I used double-sided tape, and then I went in and put glue. And the glue was critical because I needed to reposition. I didn't get it lined up correctly the first time. So you want to be mindful of that kind of thing. It can happen. So here I'm going to have to rip it up real quick. You don't have long to get these seams just right. You don't want it jutting past either side, but that was okay. That did the trick, and it's all lined up perfectly. And now we have this flip-flop journal. I'm not going full on decoration today. I'm keeping this simple because I really just want to inspire you with 2 projects and a quick process video. So this month, as you're working through your 6x6 paper pads, maybe you'll give one of these projects a try. I went to my cluster book, and if you want to know more about my cluster books, they're on my channel. We've made some just about 2 weeks ago. So you'll find all kinds of information about that. In fact, I made a whole junk journal, and the theme was clusters. I used my clusters to decorate the entire thing. I didn't use any printables, and it was just so cool and so much fun. I just finished that project. So I'm going through my cluster book, and I'm grabbing my clusters for the covers. And I also have these ink box cards, which is something that I made in January as well. And I decided I'm going to put this ink box card as my focal point on this cover. And I'm going to secure my ribbon down underneath that to tie around the book. I did end up choosing a really basic, simple ribbon. Yeah, everything comes cascading down. But what I'm going to do is secure that ribbon right under that ink box card, my focal point for my cover, and then wrap it around a few times, and then I'll end up tucking it in. And that is how I will close this journal. You want to wrap it around a few times because your journals will grow the more you decorate and use them. So you don't want to have a piece of string that's too small. Now I'm just going to secure this with double-sided tape. I'm also going to put glue on the back of my ink box card. If you're wondering why I keep calling it an ink box card, that's because this was a Marguerite Miller project that I worked on from the Vintage Collage Club. In January, this was our project. And there it is. We have made a journal, and it has a ton of writing space. If you don't want all the white pages, you can go in and stencil on them or do whatever you want, stamping, add more images, color, do whatever makes your heart happy. These covers are totally different. It's almost like two completely different journals. And usually I don't do that with a flip-flop. They're usually all one theme and very cohesive, but it's kind of fun. And I'm thinking about adding a charm on the end of here. I'm thinking about adding an eyelet to it or just a piece of ribbon and then an eyelet and dangling a charm off the edge. So that journal's not done. It's just started. Here are the envelopes if you're curious about which ones to use for the mini slimline cards. I buy these at my grocery store. You can get them at the Dollar Tree. They're just about everywhere. It's a number 8 or a 6 3/4 envelope. And they just fit perfectly in there. And it's a really great way to stretch your stash while smashing it at the same time. So here are my journals. The cards that were pretty light on the inside, I didn't bother adding any paper. And I had one that was dark, and so I added paper on the inside. This one I really collaged up. So this is the one that added the tea dye paper to. I didn't want to cover up the cherub on it. And this is one that we made together. And we made this one together. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you're feeling inspired to smash your stash. I can't wait to see what everyone else on the collaboration team has made. I hope you'll hop along and find out too. See you next time. Bye.